What's going on, addicts? Today we're going to talk Brandin Cooks, the newly acquired receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. So Brandin Cooks has experienced a very interesting career. Obviously, he's always been a more high-profile player. Played 3 years with the Saints, played another year last year with the Patriots, and you could even argue him going out early in the game against the Eagles was one of the reasons that the Patriots lost. So definitely a star in his own right, and when the Rams traded a first-round pick to get him, clearly they have a plan for him, and clearly they think that he is what they need from a receiving position. So looking at that, I understand the arguments for Brandin Cooks, and I think that he is actually a pretty good player. But when you're talking consistent fantasy production, when you're taking players in the 4th, 5th round, you are definitely still concerned about making sure that it's a safer pick. I mean, you are shooting for a little bit more upside by this point in the draft, but I think we've kind of seen the upside with Brandin Cooks. I mean, he's played for 2 future Hall of Famers in Drew Brees and Tom Brady, and he's put up respectable fantasy seasons, but nothing ever that would really wow you completely. So going to Jared Goff, not that Jared Goff is a bad quarterback, I don't really expect from a fantasy perspective that Brandin Cooks would really do any more with Jared Goff that he was able to do with Tom Brady and Drew Brees. But let's look at some of his stats and kind of see how that would fit with the Rams. So obviously last year, playing with the Patriots, he had his second lowest reception share, but his yards were basically about his average for the past couple years. He had 1,082 yards, 7 touchdowns, and previously before that, the most receptions he ever had was 84 in 2015, and he basically had about the same amount of yards for 3 years running, and 9 touchdowns 2015, 8 in 2016, and then again 7 in 2017. So he's always been a high touchdown producing guy, definitely always been a deep threat. He's one of the faster players in the league, but never really been that guy that's been like the consistent week in, week out, 8, 9, 10 reception player like your Larry Fitzgerald and Demaryius Thomases of the world. So with Brandin Cooks, I think you have to factor in that he's going to have some games, and he's had it every single season. He's going to have some games that you're just really frustrated that he's on your team. And obviously you'll have those games that you're happy, but when you look at the way that the Rams played last year, and it worked really well, there was a game that Robert Woods would have a lot of points, and there was a game where Cooper Kupp would have a lot of points. There was a game that Todd Gurley, every game Todd Gurley got all the points. But I don't really think that there's enough volume in Los Angeles for Brandin Cooks to really take a huge jump from where he had finished in prior years. So if you're taking him where he's going now, you're basically hoping that he finishes where he did it previously. But I also think that there's a good chance that he'll actually finish lower, at least in terms of fantasy points scored, just based on the offense that he's going to. Again, he's not playing with Tom Brady and Drew Brees anymore. And last year, the Patriots lost Julian Edelman. They lost Chris Hogan for part of the season, had a few games where they didn't have Gronkowski. So Brandin Cooks playing played all 16 games last year with the Patriots, and still only managed to get 65 receptions. He's not going to be a guy that you can really rely on every single week to carry your team. So you're not killing yourself if you take him in the 5th round, if that's where it ends up falling by the time you have your draft. There's just guys that I would rather have. Personally, I think his upside is capped, and I think his floor is a lot lower than he's being drafted at. And that's the main reason why I'm pretty much avoiding Brandin Cooks this year. Again, I would not be surprised if he puts up a respectable season, and he might end up being someone that I end up targeting in trades as the season goes on, but I'm not projecting him to really outperform what he did in previous years. I'm actually projecting him to regress a little bit. And I know maybe this is a stupid take, but he just got paid. So what motivation does he have to truly outperform what he's done? As long as he's being a team player and doing what he needs to do on a week in, week out basis, he doesn't really have any motivation to excel beyond that. So I'm not projecting Brandin Cooks to do as well this year as he's done in previous years, and I think he's being overdrafted. But anyway, if you guys are curious where I have him ranked, where I have everybody else that's worth drafting ranked, feel free to click the link in the description box below, and you can access my PPR tiers. I'll be sending you guys updates throughout August and into September, making sure you guys are completely prepared for your drafts. If you guys found this video helpful, please feel free to give it a like, subscribe if you want to, and hope you guys have a great day. Peace.